approval of the agenda. Is there anything we'd like to change on this agenda? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion, please.
Gowing moves to approve the agenda.
Thorpe seconds.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. All were in favor. Next up, we have some housekeeping matters, but I want to start out the housekeeping with, this is going to be Councilmember Gowing's last official meeting as a city council member. And we have prepared the obligatory plaque, the slate plaque.
Oh, yay.
And Jane, step out front here if you would, please. Jane Gowing, we have so many people in the community to make a difference, and you have made a big difference. Really appreciate all that you do. And this plaque is from out on your wall, and
Thank you very much, Mayor.
you're welcome.
Couldn't wait. I can't wait to hang it up.
Yeah, because that means you'll be done.
That's right.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Jane.
Max, you had some housekeeping matters you wanted to run by us?
Yeah, one is for awareness and one that I would like to talk about just a little bit more in depth. The first of which is just some work that I've been helping out the county when it comes to OHV rental companies in town and trying to figure out what to do about them. And it doesn't necessarily affect us as a city. However, I just want to bring it to an awareness that the OHV rental companies on the east side are exercising their rights to be able to run OHV street legal vehicles on the east side trails, and is doing so, and something that we'll probably be hearing about more in the future, both from the county as our municipal partner here in Lake County, but also in the paper and the likes of that. But I don't have too much more to share except for the east side is changing, and unknown if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Okay, thank you.
And the second is I'd just like to hear, Mayor, if you could, about what has been occurring with the snow removal in town. I have been receiving some emails from a few constituents, and then also some of my neighbors here in Ward 3B, and they'd like to hear how the street department's doing and what they're working on, and perhaps bring to the forefront some of their concerns.
Okay, I've been driving around town to check. I think they've been doing a stellar job. I mean, the streets have been fantastic. They've also been, most days they remove snow. They've run the blower twice on Harrison Avenue, removing snow from Harrison Avenue using the blower. They're finding that the blower doesn't work very well in icy piles. So they have to remove those with the loader, but they remove snow most days. They've done the half blocks on Harrison Avenue a couple times because part of the criticality of all this is to make sure that our merchants have the ability to do business on a daily basis, and we clear Harrison as quickly as we possibly can. Other than that, I've seen they cleared 9th Street, I think either yesterday or today. That block between Harrison and Poplar is always a problem where snow builds up. So they have been, at one point they had worked 8 straight days, and of course I make sure they understand they have to adhere to DOT guidelines. They can't work more than 60 hours in a 7-day period according to the DOT. So there are restrictions on how much they can possibly do. I'll also say that we're going to hire a seventh person. We have an applicant who wants to come to work for us. He does not have a CDL, so we're going to have to get him a CDL pretty quickly. But that's hopeful in terms of having a full crew instead of a partial crew.
Okay, well, I'm certain that they've been working very hard, and it's music to my ears that they're actually removing snow and not just moving snow, it's a great step in the right direction. What I've heard from some of our constituents, both through email and walking the streets, is that they'd like to see some pedestrian walkways or sidewalks being cleared a little bit. I've noticed, for example, and I know it's very difficult to, but in front of the Family Dollar, there's no sidewalk sometimes there. Where the bus stops, it's just a pile of slag. And it would be great if we could somehow get that factored into their removal program as well. But then also, there's been concerns about just sidewalks in town where people can no longer walk, and they're storing that snow on the sidewalks, making it more of a I mean, I'm the messenger. I get the fact that they're doing a great job with the removal and the plowing portion of it in the allocated time they can through the state and through the Department of Transportation. And also happy to hear that a seventh is being hopefully hired here in the next week or two, considering we're getting more snow, which will then increase our bandwidth for snow removal. I'll leave it there because I know Councilmember Hill or Green or someone else may have heard as well. And so I'd like to hear if anybody else has heard anything similarly than I have, and maybe discuss. I know they had a plan to do every other block or, half a block. And I want to see if they're still trying to shut that down. But I want to hear if I'm the only one that's hearing from constituents about the snow removal program.
Anybody else have anything?
Dana's got her hand up.
Oh, I see. Dana, yes.
Yeah, I also have been hearing from constituents. I think, Max and I have the same ward, which is really large. And I agree with you, Mayor. I think that the streets, the driving area of the streets has been really wonderful. And I've been very grateful to have that area cleared. I think where I'm hearing a lot of concern is over the sides of the streets where people park and removal of the snow in those areas. And that is partially the streets, when they clear it up, there are sometimes snow storage piles that, like Max said, will spill over onto the sidewalks. But also, of course, our own local individuals who have plows on the front of vehicles who are trying to clear their own driveways or spaces and not really having a place to put snow except for, somewhere on the side of the street, which makes it really difficult. And so I'm just wondering if part of our snow removal plan discussion, not tonight, but at some point, can involve working with people who plow their own side of the street or driveways and say, if you put your snow here, in this pile, the street department will pick it up on X day. Because I know that there's a focus to keep areas open for the businesses, and some of the businesses will have their areas plowed by the street department. And I'm just wondering if we can work with our local citizen plowers to both encourage them to put snow in a predictable place that doesn't block the corners, but that also can be picked up at some point on a schedule. Just an idea.
I think it's a good idea. We about 3 years ago, we had a meeting. We pulled all the contractors in town together with the street department and discussed that. it's a bit of a wild west out there. And a lot of times they're doing their work when we're not around. And I've said before, like, we never pile snow in the corners, but yet if you, especially on the west side, that's what happens, is snow gets piled in the corners. So it's very difficult to corral that issue. I don't know of a great way to do it. That's not a very good answer, but we've tried. The other thing is, we actually do have some understanding with some homeowners that if they'll put the snow in a certain place, then we'll try and come and get it. So we do some of that, although I think it's limited in terms of just relationships on the street.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that could be a new kind of, city to resident discussion of, expand that program from just some individual homeowners to, hey, third and fourth blocks of West Third. If you put your snow where these X's are, we'll come pick them up like on a Tuesday or something like that. Yeah, Max, another tool in the toolbox. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Still in housekeeping or related to snow?
Well, I wanted to see if anybody else had anything on snow.
Okay.
I don't have it, Mayor. This is Councilmember Hill.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything from my constituents on the snow removal. I have had a chance to witness the blower in action on Harrison, and that's actually pretty impressive. Seems like they pretty efficient with that piece of equipment already. They were removing snow. I think it took somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes per block. So that seemed pretty efficient to me, and looked like everything was working good on that. Other than that, I don't really have much from my constituents, and just from my personal observance, I think there is some steps being made to improve the removal part of snow maintenance. So just got to keep moving in the right direction on that.
All right, thank you.
I do have
All right, thank you very much. Cisco, you had a housekeeping matter?
A few things, and please let me know if they'll be addressed later in the meeting. Any updates on the administrator?
Good question. We actually, on the 18th, will have the first reading of that ordinance for city administrator.
Okay.
She's going to be here on the 18th, at our meeting on the 18th. She officially starts on February the 14th.
Okay, so accepted the position and
Yes.
wow, hooray. Cool.
In fact, she's going to be here during that week of the 18th. And so I invited her to come to city council meeting. She said she would love to do that.
Super. Well, nice work. How about ditto housing director?
That RFP went out yesterday from the county for a
Okay.
housing director. So
Okay.
that was actually on my list.
Was it?
Good work.
Yeah. too easy.
The RFP is out for the housing director. They're going to go into the hiring protocol
Okay.
for that individual.
Okay. Somewhat related. I'm going to put this out there. If anyone has other ideas or complementary ideas, please let me know. I perceive that in the rail yard project, we did not have all the access to all the tools we needed to make sure that was a development that included certain affordable housing type options. I think we're thankful that the developer was gracious in phase 1 and 2 about contributing some things. Given that, I think for future PUDs, we would want some of those tools, like certain zoning things. I'm wondering if we would like to consider some kind of moratorium on them until our housing director has some traction and some ideas on what we want to do. And I don't know if that's a moratorium on PUDs, or perhaps something else could meet that goal. Or maybe it's a non-issue, and I am open to that as well.
Well, I would say this, we have granted the PUDs for both phase 1 and phase 2.
Right.
Phase 3 is going to be Fading West, and their
Sure.
sole objective is to do affordable and attainable and workforce housing.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what other projects in the city would fall into that category where a moratorium would be meaningful.
Okay. So if another project like that came up, the timeline would be long enough that we could have any tools in place? Because I'm envisioning, what about the next one? What's the next development going to be?
For the city, I'm not sure there will ever be a next one.
Because of finite
No,
land?
We don't have land.
Okay,
For
so
a
there's,
large development.
that was true for the rail yard as well, but we annexed that, right?
We did annex that.
So theoretically, that type of thing could arise.
It's possible. I would call it unlikely, but possible.
Okay,
And the city and county would have to agree that that's in everybody's best interest
okay.
for that to happen.
And would that be a pretty lengthy timeline for all that to happen?
Actually, it kind of is. Annexation took us, 3-4 months.
Okay,
It was actually fairly complicated. In terms of the sorts of things you're talking about, if you're talking about inclusionary zoning, which the county has rejected already,
mhm,
and it never made much sense to us because we were pretty far down the road in terms of development. And we would have been putting it in place after the fact. I don't know if that's a good tool or not.
well, I don't either. And that's why I would want to make sure that we have some guidance from the housing director and the coalition before we're making future decisions like that. And I guess to zoom out a little, I'm just wondering, are there other realms, not just PUD, that we would want to slow down until we have more guidance from a housing director?
I don't know. Did anybody have any ideas on that? It doesn't seem clear to me.
Like we did with the formula businesses, we slowed that down so we could make a thoughtful decision. And I'm wondering if there's anything we want to do in the housing front like that.
Anybody have a thought?
I would just like to make a comment. I'm not sure that the county rejected inclusionary zoning. They simply have not really brought it up yet. They haven't voted on it or anything. So I don't think it's fair to say that they rejected it.
No, I was there. They literally voted on it.
And as far as doing it for the city, I'm not sure that, as the mayor said, that there's anything upcoming that we would not control and determine that the fate of that. But if you're worried that Fading West would renege on their intent, that might be a consideration, I guess.
I am not worried about that. I'm kind of thinking beyond the rail yard. I'm not thinking about any of the phases of the rail yard at the moment. I'm thinking about what's the next thing beyond the rail yard and getting our ducks in a row before that happens. But maybe we have enough time, given the timeline that would take.
I think if we were going into an annexation possibility, then at that time we could consider that almost simultaneously that we want time to get, to have a conversation about what tools we would want in place to assure affordable housing. That's all I can think of. Max, sorry, go ahead.
No worries. No, I think that Councilmember Tharp brings up a good point about this topic. And then also, I'm wondering, here we are on the 4th of January. Have we as a council, even bringing it back out a little bit farther, decided what, instead of being reactionary, what proactive measures are we looking to take this year as a council with a new city administrator and everything like that? And I do feel that this type of conversation, we have to daylight other important items that we're committed to making some positive steps down the road to resolution, and of course leaving plenty of room for what comes in our way, because I'll tell you what, a lot of walk-in business is going to take our time, right? But I just want to say that I would like to further this discussion because I feel that it warrants more discussion, and perhaps doing that in a work session where we're actually identifying when we get our new council member, our new city administrator, and truly sit down and say, what is the shape of our city now that we have these people in place? What are we going to work towards? And I think we do it every year. So this is just a reminder that we got to get that on the calendar again.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
sounds good.
will be talking later about possible work session dates and subjects. And that would be one to probably have once the administrator is in place, maybe March.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Okay,
That's all
thank
from
you.
me. Thank you.
Anybody else have any housekeeping matters? Max?
I apologize, Mayor. I just want to go back with the new administrator coming in on the 18th and just circling back on the snow removal program. Is there a way that the city street department can have prepare some sort of report out for us to understand what they've been doing from, we'll say from the 1st of the year to the 18th, what blocks they've been concentrating on. And so the city administrator and ourselves have a bigger picture of what that means
Sure.
as an actual presentation, please.
I'll be glad to get that together.
Thank you.
And that'll be department reports also, so timing should be good.
I have,
Anybody else?
I have one item to bring up, Mayor.
Yes,
COVID testing in the community. Is there any available?
yeah, they've started again at the hospital. They were down for a few days. They're back up again. I just read something today, but I don't remember what the timeframes were.
Okay, because I heard today that the testing was shut down for another week. Is that not true? Maybe this is
Oh,
a
is
question
that
for
right?
Dana.
I haven't seen that
I had
yet.
heard the same thing, Tim, and I think it's online as well.
Okay. What was the reason?
Councilmember Hill, you're correct. They are shut down until the 10th. Any existing appointments will be honored, including vaccinations. But until the 10th, they're not doing any more drive-through anything. And then after the 10th, it will be by appointment only.
Is that a capacity issue or do we know?
Staffing is a lot.
It's mostly a staffing issue, although there's some question marks about how many tests are just generally available, but it's primarily a staffing issue.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else? Okay, thank you. At this time, we would ask if anybody in the public would like to make comments not on the agenda. If you'd like to, please come up, give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, team.
Good evening. I think some of the council members have been copied on the email chain happening between us and Sarah Mutch. I just want to provide a little bit of background about what's happening. Since last year, about October time, one of the community members brought that to our attention that Commissioner Sarah Mutch are unhappy with our UTV guiding business. I have been repetitively trying to reach out to the commissioner, telling her everything we've been doing for the community, everything we've been investing in this community, and the staff and the high-paying jobs that we've created. Instead, Commissioner Sarah Mudge told us untrue information about one, snowcap is not allowed on Eastside County Road. Two, guiding is not allowed on the Eastside County Road. After that, we consulted with 3 different lawyers about this matter, and we're told that we're operating 100% legally. So I've been trying to reach out to Commissioner Sarah Mudge to get clarification about why does she tell us information that's not true and expect us to make investment decisions based on the untrue information. Unfortunately, obviously, I did not get any information of any feedback from her. I ran into her finally yesterday at courthouse. Again, I ran into her, not a scheduled meeting, after 3 whole months. And I tried to tell her how everything we've been doing for the community, how devastating it would be for our business, for our staffing. It would be like if she's considering taking guiding away from us. She told us, Ting, I think that is a bad investment decision, and that is not my problem. That is extremely frustrating on our side, considering it is not a bad investment decision. If you ask me, our business grows over $110,000 in December in 1 month. We brought over 1,000 people into Lake County just in December from Breckenridge and Vail. It is not a bad investment decision, but it is truly terrifying knowing that she's trying to have conversation with other members in this community discussing how to, quote, address our business while we are not even being provided with true, honest information and even be remotely close to being involved in this conversation. So I'm asking the council members who are involved in discussions like this to consider what she's trying to do and what might happen if the guiding services are taken away from us and taken away from our staff. And I would really, really appreciate any council member who help us to advocate our business. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? It was not on the agenda. Okay, seeing none,
Can I ask a question about that one?
you can.
Any council members who are involved in that conversation, is there discussion to involve business owners in that planning?
Max might know.
Yeah, I'm not privy to what they're thinking about, but I would only hope and encourage the fact that business owners are going to be part of that conversation. One question I do have, and I noticed it on and I know it's not Ting's business, but on the Elk Mountain Adventures, they still have wheeled vehicles, and I don't see the track vehicles. So they're actually using a groomed surface for wheeled vehicles, I believe, on the east side. And that is a new way of using the east side in the winter. And so that's, I think, a concern for people, but that's and it is legal. And I do know that there could be some ability for counties to regulate the use of county roads through a House bill that's being deliberated upon in Denver right now. So there could be more to it down the road than we know of. But yeah, I fully encourage participation. I mean, this is a solution that everybody has to come up with.
Thank you, Max. Any other city council members have thoughts on this? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we're going to dive into the agenda. First, we have the approval of the minutes from December the 7th, 2021. Anybody have any issues? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion, please.
Now I move to approve the regular council meeting minutes from Tuesday, December 7th, 2021.
Lauretson, second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Thank you.
This is Dana Green, I abstain as I was absent.
Thank you. Next up, we have the special meeting of Tuesday, December the 14th, 2021. I did want to comment, that was a terrific work session. It went in directions I did not expect and turned out very well. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion, please.
Bart moves to approve the minutes from the special council meeting of Tuesday, December 14th, 2021.
Dowling, seconds.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, not roll call. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions?
This is Dana Green. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I abstain. Wasn't there.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have a mural approval for Full Circle in Lake County. Anybody have any thoughts on this mural? Oh, Stephanie, oh, I'm sorry, Stephanie is on the, see, terrible.
No worries, I was hiding. Hi, council members and mayor. I submitted the written sort of statement of the mural plan. It's a project that we engaged our youth participants in over the last few months to design a mural that reflects things that the youth of Full Circle care about, both about Full Circle and the community, and it's sort of an effort to make our new building on East 7th Street feel more inclusive and a sort of welcoming space that youth see themselves as a part of, sort of creating some ownership for them. It's an 8 by 8 foot mural with some cut out wood dots, basically, that the plan is to affix to the building. It's really beautiful. I put a digital image in the application. It turned out really, really neat and just reflects so many different parts of what matters to the youth of Full Circle. And we're really excited about the project. We were able to work with Mackenzie Stock, a local artist, and she worked really closely with youth to make sure that their voice was driving the entire design. So I appreciate you reviewing it, and I hope to be able to add some new cultural art to public space in Lake County.
Thank you, Stephanie. Any input from staff? Okay, thank you. Any comments or thoughts from City Council?
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, I
And
like it.
I'm excited to see that space come alive even more than it already has, and really to see Full Circle really flourish there.
I think the bright colors will really brighten that up. Otherwise, it's kind of drab. So I think the color choices are very nice.
Any other thoughts, comments? Okay, in which case I would entertain a motion, please.
Loretta moved to approve the 7-foot by 7-foot full circle of Leadville Incorporated mural to be installed via wood panel onto the most western facing wall at 115 East 7th Street facing the alley.
Can I have a second?
Bill say,
Oh,
Thank
so
you. That was Hill second. Roll call, please.
Oh, one thing. Stephanie said 8 by 8 feet. I see 7 by 7 feet, which
I misspoke. I really apologize for that. It is
No
7 by
worries.
7 feet.
okay. I just didn't want it to get anybody later on or anything. Yep. Okay,
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Tharp,
yes.
Mayor Lobby,
Yes.
Councilmember Gowing,
Yes,
Councilmember Larritzen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Green,
yes.
Councilmember Fergensi,
Yes.
Right, thank you all very much. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you all so much. Come by our building and check it out. The
Okay.
inside too. You're all welcome.
Next up, we have a conditional use permit for the extension request. This is for the communications tower. I think for those of you who aren't aware, this has been in process for a few years. It's gotten delayed for a couple of reasons, not the least of which is COVID, which is stated in here. You know, but also I think that the state and the granting entity through the county some curveballs in the middle of all of it. But nonetheless, they still intend to build this tower. It's going to be on city land. And we've already approved the CUP once. They're actually asking for an extension in order to give them time to complete the project. Any questions or concerns on that?
do we have some kind of estimate when that should take place or will take place or?
I don't know that we do. You know, I know that they now intend to go forward. They have all the pieces in place.
And the funding is there?
Yes, that's my understanding. One of the problems with the funding was they originally, you know, granted the funding, but it turned out the funding didn't include the building where all the equipment has to be. And no, you know, no one ever mentioned that. So that's been one of those things that's been a little bit problematic as they've gone forward. But they're in a position, and this tower, according to Office of Emergency Management, will make a huge difference in our ability to communicate, especially with the southern end of the county where we have a lot of dead zones in communication there.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay, I would entertain a motion, please.
Tharp moves to approve an extension for the previously approved conditional use permit for Lake County Emergency Management Services at the property of 700 East 10th Street for,
24.
did we discuss time?
We did, normally these are good for 2 years. Extension could be for 1 year, you know.
Oh.
I don't see any reason not to make it 2 years, give them plenty of time to get it completed.
For 24 months.
Fergensi seconds.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Tharp,
Yes.
Councilmember Fergensi,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Gowing,
Yes,
Councilmember Hill,
yes,
Councilmember Larritzen,
Yes.
Mayor Lobby.
Yes. Thank you. Hope they get it up. Next up, we have one application for city treasurer, Allison Hoagland. Allison, would you like to come up and speak to city council?
You know, finding out that no one had run for this office, I wasn't even I'm gonna be honest, aware of that. But knowing that it's an important step in the process of the finances for not Lake County, but for the city, is to have someone really go over and look and make sure that everything is on the up and up. It's important to me, you know, as someone who's worked in banking and we always had backup. We always had someone double checking. We always had, so I know that that's an important step, and I'm interested not only because I have invested my life in the city of Leadville and Lake County with kids in my home and my job here, but also just furthering my own endeavors in the area of, say, business and planning, and just seems like a really, really great step to be able to take for me and to help out the city of Leadville.
Thank you, Allison. Any questions for Allison? I have one. I mean, I think that you've been working with Donna, if I'm not mistaken, and that
Yes.
you're aware of the job description
Yes,
that we have
yeah,
for
I've
the city
seen
treasurer.
the checklist.
Good deal. Okay, just want to make sure. Anybody else? Then I would entertain a motion, please. This would be a motion to appoint Allison as city treasurer.
Gowing moves to appoint Allison Hoagland as the City of Leadville's treasurer.
Tharp seconds.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Tharp,
Yes.
Councilmember Forgensi,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Gowing,
Yes,
Mayor Lobby,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Larritzen.
Yes.
Allison, thank you so much for stepping up.
Thanks, Allison. Thanks for doing it.
Thank you.
Are
And
we going to need to do a swearing in of Allison on the 18th?
yes,
Okay, just want to make sure. Thank you. Okay, next up, we have some resolutions and ordinances. First is resolution number 1, series of 2022 resolution designating the official public notice location. We do this every year, according to the state. When we're done, we'll send this on to DOLA, designating those places that we have declared as our places of notification. I would say that correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if we had the website as a notification place previous to this, have we?
no,
I didn't think
it's
so.
only been the front door.
Okay, so now it gives us the option of, or both, of doing website and front door. We still use the newspaper, local newspaper, for notifications that require that publication. Any thoughts or questions on this?
You know, per some community feedback from Mr. Cipher, for example, just pointing out that our website was a little less than updated. Are we confident that we can maintain the website to these standards?
Good question.
Yes, so currently, we do have our link published. I did address his concerns. I went through
Okay.
to those pages that I normally don't look at.
Okay,
And,
thank
but I
you for
normally
doing
work
that.
on the city council pages and we post the minutes, we post the agendas. We have the link for the meeting recording from there, but it's on different pages. So I had to update the other pages. So I believe going forward, I'm writing procedures for this position. And that is one of the procedures for getting ready for council.
Super.
great, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. And I do love the idea as long as we can make it work with fidelity.
I would like for us to do both consistently, unless there's some reason we can't. I'd like for it to be on the front door and the website both.
That is my intention going
Good,
forward.
thank you. Any other thoughts or concerns? Okay, I would entertain a motion, please.
Tharp moves to adopt resolution number 1, series of 2022, a resolution designating the official public notice location and the official newspaper of general circulation for the city of Leadville, Colorado.
Laurettson second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Laurettson,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Gowing,
Yes.
Councilmember Fergency,
Yes.
Councilmember Tharp,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Green,
Yes.
Mayor Lobby.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Allison. Next up, we have resolution number 2, series of 2022, resolution for a supplemental budget for unanticipated revenues and appropriating additional sums of money to defray unanticipated expenses in excess of amounts budgeted for.
Mayor, this needs to be a public hearing.
Thank you for the reminder. At this time, it is 6:47, and I open a public hearing on the supplemental budget resolution. Ms. Schneider?
So supplemental budget for 2021, the general fund operational, basically, it's mostly consistent of the American Rescue Plan. I was thinking that, just in case we did spend the rest of the money that we got in, I have to account for those expenditures. As you can see, the street is also a little bit higher, but we did buy it lower outright in 2021. So we had to account for those expenditures. And then the animal shelter, we did have the flooring put in, which was about $10,000. We bought those cat kennels for $3,000. So those are mostly what's for the animal shelter. High Country Developers, last year, Billy told me, the auditor told me that we should be actually doing supplemental budgets for them as well. And it is really expenditures out, revenue in, so it's just kind of a wash. So those are equal. Fire department really consisted of, just because of a staffing issue, they were really over on their overtime, just because of the different staffing issues. And then, of course, they had some vehicle breakdowns that they had to take care of there. And then, of course, we always have the wildfire expenditures that are never budgeted. So we had to account for those. And then I also did, to account for the expenditures, I also did a supplement on the revenue, which doesn't matter as far as goal is concerned, but I'd like to just show that, yes, we did bring in wildland fire revenue to offset the expenditures, which still does not matter. But anyway, those are kind of goes through the budget, the supplemental budget. So are there any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Schneider? We can ask her after we open the public hearing, the actual public comment portion. Okay. At this time, at 6:49, I would like to open the public comment portion of the public hearing. If anybody in the public would like to speak, please come up and introduce yourself. You'll have 3 minutes. And that would be whether you are in favor or in opposition to the supplemental budget, or if you simply have comments on it. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public input portion of the public hearing.
Gowing moves to close the public input portion of the public hearing.
Tharp seconds.
Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. All were in favor. At this time, if we have any questions for staff about the supplemental budget, let's please ask them now.
Donna, I have a question. Could you just give me 101, like, why do we need to do this? Just for my own learning mostly, but,
Okay, so this is for 2021. So when we did the budget for 2021 last year, and we filed that with DOLA, anytime we go over the expenditures or suspect we're going to go over in the expenditures, we've got to do a supplemental budget to account for those overages and
Okay.
file that with DOLA. We can never be over a budget filed with DOLA. So, you know, if we file a budget with DOLA, we have to be under that.
okay. Okay, so that's what we're doing here.
That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Also, it's important to note, DOLA doesn't care about revenue. They only care about expense. The supplemental budget is based entirely on expense. It doesn't matter how much revenue you had to offset that expense.
Are there repercussions from DOLA in any way, or do they just want to stay informed?
Honestly, I don't know. We've never done it, so I don't know.
We
what
do
the
a supplemental
repercussions
budget
would
every
be.
single year, and we've never, you know, I think it's all perfunctory in their mind. They just want reporting on what we're doing. Now, the reporting, for example, the city hall operating expenses, which was the, you know, a projected possibility of $400,000, which isn't true, but still, you have to protect yourself on the off chance that, for instance, that those ARP funds would have all been spent in 2021.
Okay. Thank you for the background.
Any other questions? Max, I'm sorry, do you have a question, Max?
Yeah, I just, so we've already expended these dollar amounts in 2021. I mean, and we've gone over by $500,000 over budget. Is that what I'm reading and hearing?
That's not correct, but
Okay,
it's what has to be reported to DOLA to protect us from having gone over, especially in the case of the ARP funds, which was $360,000.
So did we get revenue after we submitted the budget to DOLA, then we got additional revenue and did additional spending? Okay,
The American
So-
Rescue, yes, didn't come into play.
Okay.
so-
so that's why it's news to DOLA, but our budget's still balanced. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. Well, in the case of the wildfire expenses, again, we can't budget those because we never know what's going to happen. We know that the revenue more than offsets it. In fact, it's a positive for us.
Right.
And that goes into the fire fund balance for future capital equipment. But still, we spent $140,000. It wasn't budgeted, so we have to report that as an overage.
Okay, I see, yeah. Interesting.
Any other thoughts? Then I would entertain a motion on resolution number 2, series of 2022.
Green moves to approve Resolution 2, Series of 2022, a resolution for a supplemental budget for unanticipated revenues and appropriating additional sums of money to defray unanticipated expenditures in excess of amounts budgeted for the general fund, the High Country Developers Fund, and the Fire Operations Fund of the City of Leadville, Colorado.
Do I hear a second?
Clark
Phil,
seconds.
second.
Clark beat you to it. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Lobby,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Green,
Yes.
Councilmember Larritzen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Gowing,
Yes.
Councilmember Fergensi,
Yes.
Councilmember Tharp,
Yes.
Okay, at this time it is 6:56 and we close the public hearing on the supplemental budget resolution. Thank you. Next, we have resolution number 35, series of 2021, resolution certifying and levying the mill levy of the city of Leadville for 2021 to defray the costs of government for the city of Leadville and for the 2022 budget year. And this is an amended resolution. And the reason it is we received kind of a late breaking change in just the amounts. The mills didn't change. And we've reported the mills to the county and that's satisfactory. But they did ask for us to do an amended resolution. The amounts changed by about $1,200 in terms of total assessed value for the city of Leadville. And that's why we're going through this exercise. Any questions or concerns about that? Then I would entertain a motion, please.
Councilmember Fergensi moves to adopt the amended resolution number 35, series of 2021, a resolution certifying and levying the mill levy of the city of Leadville for 2021 to defray the costs of government for the city of Leadville for the 2022 budget year, which amended resolution shall supersede and replace the original resolution number 35, series of 2021.
Do I have a second,
Well-
please?
No seconds.
Thank you. Any other conversation, discussion? I'm sorry, I'm not hitting on all cylinders tonight. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lauritsen,
Yes.
Councilmember Hill,
Yes.
Councilmember Tharp,
Yes.
Councilmember Fergensi,
Yes.
Councilmember Gowing,
Yes.
Mayor Lobby,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Green.
Yes.
thank you. At this time, we're looking at the public meetings planner. And one of the things we were going to discuss is the possibility of looking at some dates for work sessions and possible subjects of those work sessions. I can give you a couple that I know are coming up. One is, I think we need to look at the request from the Historic Preservation Commission in terms of possible change to, I don't know if that's to code or not. Nonetheless, to make the changes that they've requested. And another one is from the Housing Coalition, the Policy Advisory Team has made some suggestions on changes to code that they would like to see pertaining to density and some other subjects to help with affordable housing issues. I think we need to discuss both those things in no particular order, but those are changes to code that will need to be going down the road, maybe in the next 6 months.
Also, Mayor, we need to talk about our private parking sign program
Oh, yeah.
that expired last month. And the HPC demolition code about the 6 months.
Right.
That stuff, it all seems to kind of factor into what Councilmember Fergensi was saying about some kind of strategic prioritization. And I wonder if that should be our first work session, would be to sort some of those priorities out.
We could do that. We've kind of sorted those out with Christiana
Okay,
in terms of giving her a list of things that we have talked about, and she's working down that list.
okay.
But I mean, I'd be happy to have that conversation and see what everybody thinks about all the different, tasks that we've given to our city attorney, and maybe in what order we feel like it's important to tackle those, because there's a pretty long list. Any thoughts, city council? I guess first question is, do we want to have a work session next Tuesday? And if so, what topic would we like to tackle?
I will not be able to attend next Tuesday.
Okay. Anybody else? We want to forego this until February? and
What
schedule-
topic do you not want to talk about, Cisco?
Oh,
That's good.
HPC.
He doesn't want to talk about HPC.
I would like to suggest that we forego next week because we do have the Laura meeting and
Yeah, we do.
let's not overwhelm everybody again this year if we don't have to, and perhaps do it on the 25th.
I like that, partially because I'd be able to attend, but also the administrator would have started on the 18th and,
No, she's not starting on the 18th. She's starting on February the 14th.
oh,
She'll
pardon
be
me.
here in attendance on the 18th.
Gotcha. Okay.
But we will have a new council member who won't be sworn in until the 18th. So
That is
it'd be
true.
nice to have that additional person as well.
Good point.
So would you like to schedule a work session on the 25th? And if so, what topic or topics would we like to tackle?
Mayor, this is Councilmember Hill.
Yes, sir.
I think maybe we should address the parking first,
Okay.
since that is completely going away by April 30th, I believe.
Yes. I agree. I
So
think
we-
that's a hot topic for us right now. Thank you. Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Mayor, this is
Yes, sir.
Councilmember for Gency.
Go ahead.
So on the 25th, is that work session just going to primarily be on parking, or are we going to, I mean, is there a way we can get the new city administrator to come up for a work session? I'd really like to get them engaged sooner than later, if it is possible in her schedule. I just think that without having the person that's going to be driving our ship there and at least hear some of our suggestions, it may not bear as much fruit in the future if we're having those types of conversations.
I would say this, she still has a full-time job. So I appreciate the fact that she's going to be up here the week of the 18th. I could invite her to come up on the 25th to join the work session, or maybe she could join us via Zoom. And maybe that would be acceptable. What do you think? Okay, I will do that. Thank you. All right. Anything else on the events calendar?
Mayor, this is
Yes.
Tracy. So we do have a Laura meeting next week, and Sarah Dallas is no longer under contract to the city. So I just want to make sure that it gets posted correctly so that we can go ahead with the meeting. And are we going to have a contract through the URA or the city for her to
That's a great question.
facilitate?
I was not under the impression she was no longer under contract.
Her contract expired December 31st.
I didn't realize that. Thank you. Yeah, Donna says she thought it was for a year.
I'd appreciate if somebody could check, because I thought it was at the end of this month.
We'll double
Or
check
last
on
month.
that.
Okay,
We'll double check on that right away. Thank you.
okay.
It's my assumption Sarah is still under contract, but maybe we should make sure that we're all in agreement on that. And if we have to formalize a new contract, then we can do that. Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you. We have mayor's report. Really don't have much to report. Council reports. Anything going on around town?
I have a big update.
Good.
My 6-year-old daughter and I are doing some citizen science, and we are observing State Street Park and collecting data on usage, both human and beyond in the
Oh,
animal
good.
kingdom. So I hope we'll have a nice report for you soon, or, we want to carry it through the seasons. So, maybe in the fall, and I can guarantee this, it will be colorful.
Well, as you and I have discussed, I intend to have State Street Park maintained as a park this next summer.
Oh.
To the best of our ability.
Cool.
So we have somebody to actually do it.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Anybody else? Well, Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for being here. Off to a roaring start.
Yeah.
It is 7:07 and this city council is adjourned.
Wow.
Great.